Welcome to the Value Telling Podcast, where we talk to some amazing people about all aspects of their persuasive process and decision winning. We cover up what value telling content really is and why it plays an essential role in winning decisions, like securing that dream job, getting that buy-in from that hard to please client, winning a place on that PSL after a tough tender process, and so much more. At the heart of the podcast is celebrating all the great things people do to understand and deliver a high persuasive performance and what it really means. I'm Matt Trainer, and I'm delighted to spend a few moments with some amazing people. I'm not a guru, but I'm an experienced business leader, and I've worked in, led and advised hundreds of companies and thousands of people over the last 20 years. I've picked up a thing or two along the way. I've seen the good, the bad and the ugly, and I'm ready to share. If you value some thought-provoking culture, insightful science, inspirational snippets on all things decision winning, you're in the right place.
So today's guest is a great friend of mine. He's a co-owner and director of Lightbox, an amazing Birmingham-based digital agency. He's also a co-founder and trustee of an amazing charity called Love Brum. He's generally a good guy, and I'm delighted to welcome to the Value Telling Podcast, PJ Ellis. PJ, welcome.
Thanks, mate. What a great intro. Thank you, pal. I'll make sure I send you that beer token.
You're very welcome.
That's very kind, mate. Thanks for having me on, Matt. I really appreciate it.
No, thank you for coming. I know you're a super busy guy and you've got loads going on there at Lightbox, and so it's great to pinch a little bit of time with you. And when I was kind of getting ready for this, I just thought, I don't know where to start. There's so much to run at, and we don't have a lot of time. So I'm just going to jump in the deep end and perhaps just start with Love Brum. Tell the listeners a little bit about it, what it's about, and how can they get involved.
Oh well, thanks, Matt. Yeah. Love Brum is a charity. So long and short of it all is we try and unearth hidden gem projects in Birmingham. So they are the volunteer-led, community-based projects that are delivering real change in their communities. But community projects that don't really get the platform to sing and dance about the brilliant things that they're doing. So we try and find those, and then once we've found them, we profile them to our supporters. And they then have the decision on which projects we support. They all get some sort of support from a funding perspective, but the ones with more votes get more money and what have you. We separate those projects across different themes, across different months. So one month it could be education. The next month's theme could be animal welfare. So on and so forth. So we're not just focusing on a specific type of projects. We are able to support at least 36 projects a year, as I said, that are delivering real change, tangible outcomes that you can touch, feel, smell, partake in, whatever it might be, that make our city better. So that's the charity side sort of covered. And we've been doing that for like seven years now, I think. But we're also like a community-based project ourselves that celebrates the city, that makes sure that we restore as much civic pride into our own community and our own city, and to make sure that we create this sort of movement for a better Birmingham, basically.
Brilliant. And how can people get involved?
There's loads of ways of getting involved. We have individual membership, which costs £20 a year. I think you might be a member actually, so thank you.
I am.
If not,
yeah. If not, yeah, put your hand in your pocket. Yeah.
I'll send you a link. Yeah. But, for the price of a takeaway or whatever it might be, shocked that I'm thinking of takeaways on Friday. Yeah, we can. Every penny of that goes towards the projects that we support and all the work that Love Brum does. There's also corporate memberships. So if your business wants to support Love Brum, a few of our friends, actually football friends, Matt, Gary Holiday and that, do that through their businesses. There's loads of ways to support him. But if I can give you a quick plug, Love Brum, it's lovebrum.org.uk. If everyone wants to sort of check on the work that we're doing, you'll see how to get involved. And genuinely, I'm blown away by the amount of people that have supported me and everyone else that set Love Brum up over the last couple of years. It's just amazing.
Yeah, get involved, everyone. It's an amazing charity. So I suppose to steer this a little bit towards what this podcast is about, value telling podcast, delivering a high persuasive performance. Tell us a little bit about the challenge that it might bring. Trying to persuade people to back Love Brom or charities, because a lot of the listeners, including myself, are from a commercial background, so that might be a whole new world to us. So are there any idiosyncrasies to it?
Yeah, I think there's certainly in the world that we live in now, in relation to access and availability, everyone is and everything is a lot more accessible. So I think anything where there's a competitive angle, i.e., I need to get more sales, I need to get more members, is slightly more difficult in a market that is not only saturated, but as I said, really easily accessible. So, and that's certainly prevalent within the third sector, especially when we've got other challenges that affect people's buying decisions and whatever that might be around the cost of living increasing on the daily. So there are constant challenges around how we better engage with both our existing supporters and potential supporters. And the way we do that is, and I think it leans into sort of high persuasive or high persuasive sort of techniques and performance, is that we just tell as many stories as we can. Love Brum was set up by me, Tim Andrews, and a guy called Dave McLean many years ago, a few beers in old Contemptibles, and we'd bought a URL from GoDaddy, and the rest is history. And we all came together with from different journeys and ideas when it came to Love Brum. But mine was born out of partly a project that I'd seen in New York called The Humans of New York. It was a photography exhibition almost, where you saw photographs of people that once you looked beyond the photograph or behind the photograph, you'd see the real person. So imagine a photograph of someone that looked like they'd lost their way slightly in life. Actually, the back story is that they were, a qualified ballerina or whatever it might be. So that started making me think about how we could be better serving to our communities by telling those stories. And through keeping it real, if that's the right thing to do, making sure that people are seeing the people behind these projects and actually seeing the tangible change that these people are having within their communities, I think we are able to better persuade or easier persuade people to get involved. And then there are hundreds and hundreds of different ways that we do that on the daily, which no doubt we'll talk about shortly.
We sure will. That great answer, and that's pretty inspiring. And so I find you quite an inspiring guy, and I find Love Brum fantastically inspiring. So I'd be really interested to know what inspires you, or who inspires you.
Well, mate, that's absolutely lovely to hear from such a guy that I equally respect as much.
That's kind of you.
The best centre half that's played in front. All that bond. Sorry, what was the question?
So I find you fantastically inspiring. I think Love Brum is really inspiring. So who or what inspires you?
So my family, like day in, day out, that is my main inspiration at the moment to ensure that that Blake and Minnie and my wife Kelly and all my extended family obviously are able to live in a city or a community that is safer than it was, that's better engaged than it has been, that's more diverse than it ever could be. So there's loads of inspirations around that journey that I'm on. But away from that, and probably individually, I can't pull myself away from Tim Andrews. Tim is is a very, 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 very good friend of mine, one of my best mates. But he wasn't 8 years ago, didn't know who he was. I'd fell into, I'm saying lots of and that's not high persuasive.
It's a great tip. We'll take it.
It's not high persuasive performance,
but it's real. It's real.
It is real. But yeah, I reached out. I'd fell into charity. I was still a lawyer at the time. and I was trying to help out this charity that had been set up by a boy who passed away, unfortunately, Harry Mosley.
Yeah.
And I'd got in too deep, really. I wanted to do a golf day, but then all of a sudden it was like, we were filling out the ICC. I think you came to one of them actually, Matt. So again, thank you. But I was struggling. I was stressed. I didn't know what to do. I'd certainly never organised a black tie event before. So I reached out on Facebook to anyone that might want to help me, and Tim Andrews put his hand up. I met him literally the next day, and I promise you he's never stopped inspiring me. And I think that's because he gives his time, which is probably the most precious commodity that we have to give. He gives his time to people that need it the most. He has a number of ways about him that inspires through the things that he does from a business perspective, all the charity work that he's ever done. Recently got an MBE for co-founding Love Brum. Cheers, Tim. Nice one. And no, he's just a guy that actually, it's really weird, because having sort of known more about what you're doing now with this podcast, I started to think about why I do find him so inspiring. And actually, without portraying this guy who's spun me into his web, far from that, he's very, very highly persuasive in how he manages his emotions, how he keeps his focus, how he deals with his time, and that I just find really inspiring. Add to that, he's just a lovely guy as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could talk to you about all the big celebrities and all the standard faces that we're all inspired by, from the Steve Bartletts to the Paul Richardsons to the Alison Hammonds, all the unboxed guests. But yeah, just to keep it close to home in Birmingham, I've got to go with Tim Andrews, MBA, 100%.
There are lots of cool things happening in your company every day. As a leader, it's hard to keep track of the great things that happen, and remote work doesn't make it easier. Capturing and using this information, that we call value-telling content, is important, as it is needed to make a compelling bid, a sales pitch, deliver a performance review, and so much more. Blu-J can help supercharge your persuasive power by creating content that converts. Our platform works like a logbook that records the important stuff. Our powerful search makes it quick and easy to find what you need. Win more decisions with Blu-J. Book a call on our website and get a guided tour of what we do.